Role models in The Unexpected Leader of the Presidential Race, Vladimir Zelensky is a Brazilian leader, Jar Bolsonaro and the President of France Emmanuel Macron, according to Bloomberg. According to the famous Ukrainian comedian, whose popularity has doubled since the end of December, he like them that is, cocky novice, in politics, the newspaper writes. Zelensky is focused on the electorate, set up the anti-establishment, like the populists, who appeared en masse in other countries of Europe and beyond. He seeks to draw the attention of Ukrainians, who lost illusion 5 years after the second decade of the pro-European revolution, which has failed to curb rampant corruption, writes Bloomberg. I don't know to what extent this can be done in Ukraine, but I think it's a great idea. So appreciated Zelensky at a briefing in Kiev, the personnel policy of the Brazilian president, who is gaining specialist technocrats to his government. This is the right course to attract all sorts of professional managers, in particular with the United States, to power. It gives people hope. For me it is a very vivid illustration, quotes its publication. For example, Macron, Zelensky seeks to create his own party for successful participation in the parliamentary elections. In addition, he notes that the youngest president of France is the one with whom he shares common thinking. Recent high-profile journalistic investigations on corruption in the military industry have hurt the election positions of President Petro Poroshenko, in particular through its promise to cut off the hands of those who deceive the Ukrainian army, writes Politico. Criticisms strike at the heart of his campaign for re-election for a second term, based on the army, language, faith, because restrict the efforts of Poroshenko to portray themselves as powerful commander-in-chief on the eve of the highly competitive March election, the newspaper writes. However, according to the article, some investigation on the transparency of pre-election monetary fund hit the positions and Yulia Tymoshenko, who persistently demanded the impeachment of the president. According to Olena Hetmanchuk, director of the Analytical Center, New Europe, Jotica not only about Vladimir Zelensky, but about those of the opposition candidates, who actually sell the Ukrainians the idea that the current political elite successfully making money on the war. Starting in 2020, the maximum speed of Volvo cars will be programmatically restricted to 112 miles, 180 km/h, writes The Guardian. This means that the driver will not be able to disperse the car up to 155 miles, 155 km/h, which is the highest threshold for many Volvo models. As noted by The Guardian, the Swedish brand, which was bought by Chinese firm Zhejiang Geely in 2010, is known for the fact that makes it a priority to traffic safety and trying to prevent fatal cases of excessive speed. Electronic limitation applies to driving alone because of mechanical constraints was not enough to ensure safety, says the publication. Currently, the total maximum permitted speed on the roads of member countries of the EU is 120-130 km/h. In Germany no general restrictions, but the recommended speed does not exceed 129 km. According to U.S. researchers, blasting the asteroids to save the Earth, much harder than we thought or seen in Hollywood movies, writes The Independent. As reminds the edition, experts have repeatedly warned that there is no doubt that the Earth may enter a potentially hazardous asteroid. The only question is when that might happen. American scientists from Johns Hopkins University has modeled a similar situation, to see how it can roast granitza, space rock, and came to the conclusion that to reject or destroy it will be more difficult than previously thought. It turned out that the force applied to the asteroid leads to the emergence of a large number of cracks in it, but thanks to the gravity core still holds the different broken pieces. Modeling this situation can help humanity to prepare for a potential disaster and to better understand how the solar system formed, and it is possible to extract valuable minerals from.